Something else that I don't see done often, in fact, I've never seen it done. Who am I kidding? I've looked for it a few times just because I've been curious, and then I've started giving up. But they're talking about the bottom here being cut on a 45-degree angle. And the purpose of that is water's running down the roof. We want to avoid the capillary effect. And the capillary effect is, I don't know if you ever poured out a cup of hot chocolate or sometimes a cup of soup, and you take it right out of the pot and you try to pour it into the bowl just to have it run down the edge of the pot and then spill all over the countertop and miss the cup, right? That's called a capillary effect when that happens. So it's the water actually adheres or sticks to the bottom of an object, and that will happen here as well. So when it sticks to it and it's not painted or protected from water, that's going to start wicking that water up into the wood siding. And obviously if water gets into the wood siding, it's going to be a matter of time before it starts to rot. So the manufacturers want you to put a 45-degree angle underneath there, and that's to prevent that from happening, create that sharp point. Nobody does it. Right. Innerseal was one of the manufacturers. There was a class action lawsuit, same thing with LP, which is Louisiana Pacific. They were also manufacturers of this composite wood material. To recognize it, you're going to see some repetitive patterns when it comes to these things. They would run the boards and, basically it would be almost continuous, and they would cut it because they would, in the factory, they would add sawdust at one area and resins and whatever the glues, and then they would form it, squish it, pattern it, and then slice it into the typical lengths that they're going to have, stack it up, and get it shipped off to the stores for people to buy. All right. So usually that pattern is going to be repetitive. So if you do start seeing that, that's one of the clues to tell that that's what you're working with. But on the same note, that's also Hardboard. That's also LP Smart Side. All right. So not always is it going to be easy to tell the difference between the stuff that is not a problem to the stuff that is a problem. Now, we haven't used this in a long time. All right. And I really haven't run into any LP product or any Innerseal product that has been in really good shape. So, and if it is, then it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. Encourage your clients always to keep everything well painted so things don't get wet. But usually that's not going to be the case. Usually we're going to find where areas are rotted, damaged, water got into the wood and it caused its problems. So here's the same thing. Boards on battens is what this is. People commonly refer to these as T111. I think that was more of a manufacturer's name that just got to be accepted on the use of stuff. Insulbrick is kind of a combination of wall sheathing and asphalt shingles. And as we look at these pictures on here, you can see it came in like 2 foot by 4 foot wide widths on there, and yeah, the front face of it is just the same as the asphalt shingles up on the roof. So there's granules that are pressed into this stuff, and that's supposed to be our UV protection and our waterproof membrane. We don't make this any longer. It was a cheaper material that was used way back when. You will still run into houses that have it, but I've never seen this stuff being sold anymore, and I don't even know where you'd be able to find it if it does. So another Insulbrick here, and as we look at, you see the tar on the sides, and my response to that is, people don't go outside with a bucket of tar and schmooey it all over the place just because they're bored on a Saturday afternoon. They do this because water's entering the home, and they're trying to stop the water from entering the home. That's their main purpose. So whenever I see the patching on the outside, I don't care what the siding material is, I want to be aggressive in that area on the inside. I want to make sure my clients are warned that, look, we had water come in here. There's no way for me to tell how often it came in or when it came in. What we do know is somebody put some patching up here, and most likely it was because water came in. So that's when I encourage my clients to go into what I call the journalist mode. And that's when you want to find out, when was this patching put on there? Why did they put the patching on there? Who put the patching on there? If it was a contractor, do you have any receipts or warranties with it? Did that fix the problem, after you put it on there? Did you have to do it more than one time because the problem came back? All right. So the who, what, why, where, when, and hows, because, accept our limitations. You're going to be looking at this for probably a matter of 5 minutes, and your client may expect you to give them 50 years of history for looking at it in 5 minutes, or tell you what's going to be happening in the next 50 years from today. So we want to make it clear to our clients, and it might be common sense to them, but even if it is or isn't, you still want to make the statement. It looks, people put this on here again for water entry. People don't do it just for fun. Otherwise, they would have done the whole thing. And I can't predict if it's going to happen again or how long this is going to last. I wouldn't expect it to last much more than a year or two, especially if it looks as fresh as this does. But get your clients prepared for that. All right. Now here we have the same thing, asphalt siding, but in all reality, it looks pretty good. No physical damage, no patching, no signs of repairs. Everything was put on there and seems to be doing what it was supposed to be doing. Again, shrug the shoulders sometimes. I really don't know what I would tell a client. I would more or less try and get their feel out of it, but make it clear. We can't predict the future. All we could do is tell you this has been here for a while. It looks pretty good. How long it's going to go, I don't know. And it all depends on, maybe they didn't have anybody doing any sort of damage with bikes, lawnmowers, but now new families coming in here and lifestyle is going to be different. So it's kind of difficult, all right? So the hard surface stuff that we run into is going to be fiber cement. Some of those items do have asbestos in it, depending on the age of it. You're going to run into clay tiles for siding, slate for siding. You'll end up being with EPDM as well. Stuff that looks like slate, but it's really a plastic type material. So we do have other hard surfaces that come in there. So on this one, we're looking at, I'm guessing it looks more like vinyl siding, just the way the J-channel bends. So we have vinyl siding on the front of the house, or the right, and then that wavy, hard, and when you knock on it, it's kind of tinny sounding to it. It's probably asbestos, all right? And a lot of people are concerned. Our society and our education is getting us more into the be healthy mindset, which is a good thing. So when somebody's buying a house, because it has asbestos in it, might be a concern, all right? So there are laboratories out there, and you're welcome to text me privately. I'll give you the one that we use. And, you could find a loose sample or a broken piece that's on the ground somewhere, and we pick it up, put it in a baggie, and if somebody wants to know for sure if it's asbestos, we can send it to the lab, and they'll send back a report with how much or what percentage has asbestos in it. Me personally, I'm going to tell my client I would rather they assume it is. If you want to rule out asbestos, that's one thing. But you should be assuming that it is. And keeping everything encapsulated, well painted, preventing any dust or broken pieces from coming loose, that's going to be the most important thing. Asbestos is a problem when it's inhaled and it gets into the lungs. It doesn't go away. It stays in there. And I want to say it's number 3 as far as lung cancer goes. I know smoking is number 1, radon is number 2, and I'm guessing All right, but I think it's a pretty good educated guess that asbestos is going to be number 3. All right. I'm hoping everybody by now recognized, and you're saying, oh, hey, Charlie, what about that earth to wood contact down there? Good. We should be calling that out as well. All right. We want to see some foundation underneath there. Our magic numbers was 8 inches. So if we get a picture like this and they want to know what should the clearance be, 8 inches is our magic number. This is a newer material, but it is also an asbestos fiber cement. Looks pretty neat, clean. It's hard. Again, as long as we don't make it friable, and that is the word I want you to remember. Friable, Friable. That means to make it into a dust, make it into airborne. So if I start demolishing this, I need to have somebody who's familiar with the product or prove it is not asbestos before I tear this down and making it airborne where people can inhale it. Usually they're going to put big tents up over the area, contain it. They'll wear suits and masks and respirators, wet everything down, put it in proper bags, and dispose of it properly when they want to get rid of it. This one just happened to be in bad shape that we're looking at here. Obviously water or something got back in there and buckled everything. I think the house settled on this one, and the concrete was pushed to it. So then when the house settled, it caused everything to buckle out. It makes our job much easier when things are in bad shape like this. All right. Masonite was another manufacturer of composite siding. Their biggest thing is that it ended up looking like stucco. And when we get to these areas down in here, very rarely were they ever flashed, especially in these corners. People end up putting caulk or sealant down there to prevent the water from coming in there. But it just didn't work. And they were just so prone to rot. So that's actual lumber coming down here. So this is either going to be a 2x4 or 1x4. Typically it's going to be, this actually looks like a 2x4. But many times it's only going to be a 1x4. And then the sheet goods are about 1/2 inch. All right. So it looks like it's sticking out more than 1/4 inch. And that's why I'm saying I think it's 2x4. But either way. So now what happens is we get water that runs down here. We get this V area that traps it. And all that water goes right into this seam. It's not painted or protected behind it. Even if it was, that would just extend the lifespan. That's not going to stop this from happening. So water is just pushed into this area, stored into this area here. And you can just see how that's all rotted up. And it's common. This is going to be something you're going to run into where people want to, smack some paint up there real quick and make the house look presentable from the street, hoping that somebody's not going to come up close and look at this. But that's what our clients are paying us for, is to take the time, get up close and look for it. So when you're dealing with these stuccos or synthetic stuccos or Masonite sidings that we're looking at here, especially those wood pieces that protrude out, be aggressive with those. All right. You don't have to actually stab them with a screwdriver or an awl or a probe in any which way, but if you can get your hands up to the finger and you push on that, you'll see that it's soft and spongy. Even from the ground, this is quite obvious that we had a lot of wood rock going in here. But sometimes, when you're looking in it, it doesn't look all that bad, and you can be deceived easily. Now, this one here, we do have, looks like either a repair or a crack or something was going on here. And that should draw our attention to it. And again, push on that area and see if it's soft when it comes in there. On the left-hand picture, I would be aggressive here and here. This whole board coming across here, even this whole board coming across the bottom here. Those are all areas. Down here's another, triangle that comes in there. I would be aggressive in all those areas. Now this one looks pretty good from the outside, but it was all rotted on the inside. So when we pull pieces off and look at them, you can just see the damage that water has done to it. All right. So again, be as aggressive as you can when you find these materials. It doesn't take much. All right, a little crack like we're looking at here brings in water, stores the water, and then it starts causing a whole bunch of wood rot and damage, and we don't know what damage it's causing to the substrate, the wood underneath the siding here. We don't know what it's doing to the wall material or the structure underneath this as well. There's just too many things that we cannot see. Another phrase I like to talk to people about is, I'm never afraid of what I can see. Here we know water's getting in here. We know that we got some wood rot on the upright trim piece here. There's a little bit of wood rot going on the horizontal piece right there. But what I am afraid of is what I can't see that's behind there. I can't see the plywood sheeting. I can't see the wall studs, the floor joist, anything else that's there that can be damaged. That's what I'm more concerned about. Again, it's an ongoing problem. These are going to be easy defects for you to find. I don't know what else to say. It's weird how you can see how the horizontal piece of wood there is squished so much it buckled the paint. It happens. Sometimes when you press on that paint, I shouldn't laugh, I'm sorry. When you press on that paint, you can actually squish around the water that's trapped behind the paint. All right. Yeah, it's amazing how it gets in there and it doesn't get out. And as long as it stays wet, then those are going to be items that's going to cause it to rot. All right.